And this is Vaughn with Spirit of Health. I'm going to go over my Candida healing protocol with you. You can get this on my website. It's not on my website right now, but it will be there very soon. And you can download this yourself. You can also obviously watch this video, and I'm going to explain it in as much detail as possible for those that don't have the handout in front of them so they know what to do. But I'm going to give you what I know about Candida, and I've studied this extensively. I've dealt with it myself. I've overcome it myself, and the key I like to make to people is that I overcame this not by stopping my focus on killing and eradicating Candida and focusing on where the weaknesses were in my body and what I needed to cleanse and what I needed to heal in my body so that this stopped becoming a problem, because Candida isn't a problem within itself. There's always a reason that it's there. So the other point I like to make is that if you've been following any kind of a Candida protocol for 3 months, 6 months. I know people that have been eating quote-unquote perfect, no Candida feeding foods for a year, 2 years, and they're still miserable. They're not better. There's a reason. There's something you're missing. You need to dig deeper. You need to find out where the weaknesses are in your body so that you can eliminate the problem once and for all. But this is just going to be kind of a quick program to flush all the excess overgrowth yeast out of your body very, very quickly, so that at least you're feeling better. And if you follow this program, you'll be feeling better within as little as 3 days and guaranteed within 2 weeks. But again, I'm just going to reemphasize again, you want to look at why it's there in the first place. So make sure you talk to a knowledgeable practitioner that understands this concept and understands that Candida isn't a problem in and of itself. Nobody's a quote-unquote victim of Candida. Candida didn't just somehow get inside your body and just start taking over like some infectious organism. Okay, it's something that's supposed to be living symbiotically with us, and there's a reason that it's not inside of your body. So here's how you get rid of it very quickly. And my program's different from any other program out there as far as I know, and what it is, it's a combination of my research, my personal experience, and information that I've taken from other programs and people that I've learned about who are experts in this field as well. The first step is food. There's no secret. You have to avoid certain foods to stop feeding infectious organisms in the body. That's true not with just Candida, but Candida or fungus, or if you have Lyme's, or you have, even if you have strep throat or mono or any kind of an infectious issue, there's certain foods that they like to eat. So that is critically important. My program, again, is a little bit different than most, but I'm going to tell you what it is here quickly in a nutshell. First thing is water, no tap water. A minimum of 3/4 of a gallon a day. If you're 200 pounds or more, you need to drink a gallon a day. These are the foods that are allowed, by the way. I don't go into the foods that aren't allowed because it's overwhelming for people and people think they're so restricted they can't eat anything. I'm going to focus on what you can eat. So if it's not on this list, you can't eat it. All meats are okay except for pork, including eggs. But I encourage you to make intelligent, hormone, antibiotic-free, 100% grass-fed, cage-free, chicken, eggs, free-range type of meat choices. All vegetables are allowed. The only exceptions are potatoes, yams, and squash because of the high starch content. All other vegetables are allowed. Fermented vegetables are strongly encouraged. Quinoa, millet, amaranth, and buckwheat, the 4 ancient seed grains, those are also allowed on the program. Any fermented foods, apple cider vinegar, which is a fermented food, is a great product to consume during a Candida protocol. All your good fats, including butter. So this would mean coconut, which is a must because it's high in lauric acid and caprylic acid, which kill fungus and yeast in the body. Olive oil, flax oil, pumpkin oil, all of these beneficial oils are excellent and really critically important in this program, upping your fat intake, because a lot of people are kind of weak, especially if they've had this issue for a long time, and you're not allowed to eat sugars on the program, so you need fats to keep your fuel levels and to keep your energy levels up. All sea vegetables are allowed. That would be kelp, kombu, nori, wakame, dulse. All of these types of sea vegetables are allowed. All your spices, all your sea salts, all your herbs, all your herbal teas. So turmeric, cayenne, oregano, any spice, any herbal tea is also allowed. Lemons and limes are allowed. And then the seeds that are allowed are pumpkin seeds, flax seeds, chia seeds, and sunflower seeds. So that is what you can eat for the first 2 weeks. Okay, 2 weeks you need to eat only the foods I just mentioned. Weeks 3 and 4, you can add back in fruit. Now, fruit's a little bit controversial for a lot of people when it comes to candida and fungus. Here's what I've learned, here's what I've experienced, and here's what I've seen with my clients that I work with. Fruit is only a problem if you don't combine it properly. Fruit is straight fuel for the body. It feeds the brain, it feeds the system, but it needs to be eaten on an empty stomach so that it does not leave an excess residue and feed candida and infectious organisms. So I allow fruit after 2 weeks, but I recommend, no, you absolutely must only eat fruit on an empty stomach. First thing in the morning is the best time to eat fruit. That's when you really, truly have an empty stomach. So if you want to eat a few apples or other types of fruit, the morning is the best time to do it, empty stomach only. But it's only going to benefit you if you can stay away from fruit, because you don't necessarily have to have it, but some people that's just too restrictive not to do fruit. So you can do fruit, but you got to do it intelligently. Never eat it with other foods. Never eat it with starches. Never eat it with proteins. Never eat it with anything else. Never, ever, ever. That is critically important, or you will feed the candida. Okay, so that's weeks 3 and 4. Weeks 5 through 8, which would be basically your second month, you're going to add back in brown rice, wild rice, legumes, beans, and nuts. But it's important to food combine properly. But go ahead and add those foods back in. And then weeks 9 and beyond, add back in everything else, but very slowly, very intelligently. We got to start using common sense. The easiest rule of thumb is if you eat a food and you have any kind of reaction to it, immediate gas, bloating, itching, swelling, soreness or pain in the ribcage area, avoid that food. That food, obviously you have an intolerance to that food. Either you have an intolerance to that food, a sensitivity to that food, or it's feeding candida. So you want to avoid that. So now I'm going to go over some basic food combining rules, just very simple food combining rules that you need to stick to in following this program to be successful. The first one is eating the fruit on an empty stomach. Critically important. Best time, first thing in the morning. When you do add fruits into the program after the first 2 weeks, here's what I recommend. Lowest sugar fruits first. Lemons, limes, apples. Granny Smith apples are the best because they're the lowest sugar content. And your berries. That's the first step. Second step, grapefruit, kiwi, apricots, melons, peaches, oranges, pears, plums. That's the second phase. The third phase, highest sugar fruits, which are your pineapple, your dates, your figs, your bananas, your prunes, grapes, mangoes, raisins, and all of your dried fruits. Those are the highest sugar content. So be careful with them, do it in that order. Empty stomach, only critical. Step number 2, no proteins and starches combined. They use 2 different digestive processes that will offset each other if you eat those foods together. They will create residue in the body, undigested food, and they will feed candida and fungus, yeast type of organisms. So, starches would be your grains, your potatoes, your rice, your squash, your beans, those types of foods. Yams, squash. Never combine those with protein, any of your animal proteins, including eggs. Do not combine those 2 together. And to sum all this up into the super simple third rule is every meal, non-starchy vegetables, which is again all vegetables besides potatoes, yams, and squash, all non-starchy vegetables combined with everything. So make it a rule of thumb to eat non-starchy vegetables with every meal and eat one other food with it, and only one other food. Either that be a seed, like your quinoa, or a starch, like potatoes or yams, or eat vegetables all by themselves, or eat it with a protein, like a small piece of meat that fits in the palm of your hand, or fish. We'll go into the 80-20 rules next, which will give you a little bit better indicator of portion size. But the third rule, non-starchy vegetables do combine with everything else. Note on fats and oils, they're best consumed with your vegetables, not your proteins, not your meats. So no tuna and mayonnaise type of combos, for example. And then on liquids, don't drink a lot of liquids with your meals, but sipping hot tea is a key for digestion. Sipping hot liquids throughout the day, and we're going to talk about the teas that we're going to do on this program, that does benefit digestion. That's something they've used in Ayurveda in India for thousands of years. the 80-20 rules. The first 80-20 rule: eat until you're 80% full, leave 20% for digestion. Not overeating does not create undigested food. Undigested food leaves residue that feeds fungus, candida, and other organisms. Again, nature doesn't waste anything. So if it's excess, if it's extra, it's just left over, nature's going to take advantage of that, and organisms living in your body are going to feed on those and reproduce. So you want to avoid being full. Second step: eat 80% vegetables and 20% something else. Again, one other something else. So like an animal protein. The size, 20%, what fits in the palm of your hand. Piece of fish, piece of chicken, 100% grass-fed beef. Or a seed, like again your quinoa. Or a starch, like rice, potatoes, squash, or beans. But 80% vegetables, 20% one of those other items. Not multiple things, just one other thing. So now the second step of the program. That's the food section. The second step of the program, and this is key, and that's what's different from most any other program out there, is sweating. Far infrared sauna is absolutely highly recommended. The reasons are multiple. One is that Candida, any type of infectious organisms, do not like heat. That's a fact. Hippocrates said, "Give me a fever and I'll cure any disease." The reason is because of all these infectious issues, these organisms do not like heat. That's why so many people do better in the summer than they do in the winter. Or when they retire, they move to Phoenix and places like that where it's hot and it's dry. Because infectious organisms like Candida and yeast like cold, wet, damp type of places. That's why a lot of people with those issues have issues when it's colder and damper and things like that. So there's a lot of reasons the infrared sauna is the way to go. One is it detoxifies your body through your skin, which is your largest organ, and it penetrates deep into your skin. So all those poisons and toxins are going to sweat out of your body. You're not going to have the die-off effect, quote-unquote, die-off effect of yeast organisms. All of these acid byproducts that the yeast organisms give off, because you're going to sweat them out using the infrared sauna. So that's amazingly beneficial. It also opens up the lymphatic system, which is critical for long-term health and long-term healing of candida and fungus. It also pulls other contaminants out of the body, like heavy metals, for example, which can contribute to the reason candida is in your body and you can't seem to get rid of it permanently. So how long do you do the infrared sauna? What I recommend doing it every day, 6 days a week. 6 days a week. So hopefully you either own one, you know someone who owns one, or you're at a wellness center nearby. I'm very blessed to be in a wellness center here with Natural High Wellness Center in Overland Park, Kansas, and you can look them up at naturalhighwellness.com, which is where you can go to do your far infrared sauna as part of this protocol. Sessions are about 20 to 30 minutes is how long you want to stay in the sauna, and again, you want to do that 6 days a week. Now, I know not everybody's schedule is going to allow that, so what I'll say is that to do it a minimum of 3 days a week while you're doing this program, a minimum of 3 days a week. But again, the more the merrier. The more you can cleanse out of your system, the more toxins you can sweat out through your skin, your largest organ, the better off you're going to be. Note, this is contraindicated for anyone who's pregnant. Pregnant women absolutely should not use the infrared sauna. Anyone with a recent injury, anyone with hemophilia, or are prone to any type of hemorrhaging, you want to be very careful. And anybody with extreme fatigue. A lot of people have completely wiped out adrenal glands, for example, known as Addison's. Those type of people don't do well in infrared saunas. It's depleting to the body. Also, when you're doing the sauna, drink lots of water and supplement with minerals. We're going to get into supplements next. So that's the third step, and this is another key, supplements and herbs. When it comes to Candida protocol, a lot of people make the mistake of taking a Candida formula with a couple herbs in it, taking a couple capsules and expecting it to kill and eradicate Candida. I believe in herbalism that people don't use the right herbs and they don't use enough of the right herbs. So I'm going to give you a formula that is just going to flush this stuff right out of the body, and it's so simple. But people just don't do enough of it to make it effective. So what we're going to do the first is we're going to drink an herbal tea. I recommend minimum of this tea 32 ounces a day, which is a quart, up to a half a gallon. Again, if anybody's 200 pounds or over, absolutely please do a half a gallon of this a day. Drink it throughout the day, sip it throughout the day. It's going to help with digestion as well. So here's the Candida tea you're going to make. Okay? To make a half a gallon of tea, this is the formula. You're going to take 2 huge heaping tablespoons of pau d'arco bark, P-A-U-D'-A-R-C-O. Almost everybody knows about pau d'arco and its benefits, but again, I don't think people do enough of it. So take 2 huge heaping tablespoons of it in a quart of water, boil it for 15 minutes. After you boiled it for 15 minutes, strain off the bark. You're going to add 1 teaspoon of black walnut hulls powder, and you're going to add 1 teaspoon of yellow dock powder. You're going to stir it and drink and sip this throughout the day. I prefer you to sip and drink the herbs, but if the texture, that's an issue to you, you can go ahead and strain that off. But that is your half a gallon of tea you're going to drink every single day for this 30 days. It's best to drink it hot or warm. You can drink it cold. It's best to drink it hot or warm and sip it throughout the day, again, because it's also going to help with digestion, it's going to help with elimination, it's going to help remove stuff from your colon and completely clean out your intestinal tract as well. The second herb to take, or supplement to take, is going to be an iodine supplement. I prefer one made by Cedar Bear. It's called Xodine, X-O-D-I-N-E. We're going to do what's called iodine loading. Again, infectious organisms in the body do not like iodine. Iodine was used in hospitals forever, for centuries, and people weren't getting infections because they were using iodine, and now they're not anymore, and I don't know why. I think that's crazy, but iodine is critical for wiping infections out of the body. So what you do is you take 3 drops of this product, Xodine. You take 3 drops 3 times a day. And you're going to do that for a month. The way you take iodine is you take 3 drops, you put it in a little tiny shot of water, and you just drink it. Don't put it directly on the tongue. A little bit of water and drink it. That's the best way to take your iodine. 3 drops 3 times a day for 1 month. The third step, the third supplement, is digestive bitters. Grape bitters. These have been around, again, for thousands of years. An old tip and trick to stimulate digestion and set up the gastric juices, get them flowing, hydrochloric acid, enzymes, bile, and everything you need to digest and break down food. So it serves 2 purposes. 1, it's going to help you digest your meals during this cleanse. 2, all those digestive great bitter herbs, they're also known as berberine herbs. Those are very good at knocking off and destroying candida in the body. So what you do is 1 squirt on the back of the tongue 10 minutes before each meal. That is all you need to kickstart digestion and get the juices flowing. The 4th step is minerals. You're going to need lots of minerals. People that do have candida overgrowth are very mineral deficient and weak in minerals. Also, doing the infrared sauna is going to deplete you of some much needed minerals, especially like your electrolyte minerals. So you want to do minerals to restore your minerals while you're doing this program. I recommend Trace Minerals Research. It's an amazing company, and they have a product called Concentrace, and what you do is you take 40 drops a day of this Concentrace. It's a liquid. All you do is add it to your water. Super simple. 40 drops a day of that. In addition to that, do a product called Electrolyte Stamina. That is a specific high concentration of electrolyte minerals which you need to replenish in your body. Do 2 packets of that every day during this program as well. There's different flavors. You just add it to your water and drink it. They're super good, super easy. The 5th supplement is a greens powder, a good greens powder. Mix 1 tablespoon of this greens blend powder. I recommend one called Amazing Greens by Herb Garden Productions. Mix a tablespoon in water, stir it up, and drink it. You can also, the other ones I do like is a company called Pure Synergy, makes a very good greens product, and Vitality Super Greens by Body Ecology, that's a very good product as well. Speeds the detoxification process. It's really hard to detox if you don't have greens moving and helping detoxify stuff out of your blood and out of your body at the cellular level. So that's the 5th supplement. So that's for the first month. After that is what I call maintenance stage, and here's where you haven't heard probiotics yet, so you might be kind of surprised by that. I think people take probiotics too soon in candida protocols. I equip it to like or equate it, I should say, to like a movie theater. So when you put good bacteria in your system, the probiotics, what happens when you do it too early and when you're overgrown with candida, it's like the probiotics are going into a movie theater and the movie's sold out and there's no seats. So they're not really doing you much good. So now for a month, you've completely wiped all this candida out of your system. Now there's a place for the good bacteria to grow and repopulate. So what we're going to do is a medicinal amount of probiotics in a short amount of time to really replenish that good bacteria. I really recommend a company called Renew Life. They have amazing products. They're the best on the market when it comes to probiotics. I've never felt the way I felt with any probiotic product than the Renew Life. I'm not saying there's not other good ones out there. I know there are, but this is just what I recommend personally. So after your first month, you're going to take a product called Renew Life 200 Billion Supercritical. It's 1 packet a day for 7 days. So every day, once a day for 7 days, you're going to take this 200 billion supercritical product. Then after that, you're going to take their Renew Life 50 billion critical extract. You're going to take 2 per day for 2 weeks. 2 capsules each day for 2 weeks. That's going to replenish your good bacteria. We're going to hit 2 different areas. The bifidus, which is going to help with the colon and repopulating the lower colon, and the lactobacillus cultures, which is going to populate the small intestines. Then after that, for maintenance, you can do the Renew Life 50 billion critical 1 a day. I also like the Udo's product. It's called Super 8. You can do 1 of those a day. That's just for ongoing maintenance. The other thing I put for maintenance is raw cultured vegetables. Continuing apple cider vinegar, doing fermented vegetables, doing like a raw goat kefir or a coconut kefir, those type of fermented foods to help keep that intestinal flora strong inside your body. And then the third thing for maintenance is medicinal mushrooms. Chaga and reishi mushrooms are excellent Candida protocol. This is another controversial thing in the natural health community. I believe medicinal mushrooms are amazing for Candida. I've seen it myself and I've seen it with people I work with. They're very protective of the body and they will eradicate inferior life forms. It's not like mushrooms you buy in the grocery store and eat. These are powerful mushrooms. They grow on trees and the most powerful and strongest trees in the world. They're very protective of the body. They're excellent for eradicating Candida fungus yeast out of the body and for protecting the body from future invasions. Amazing for building the immune system. So that's the program. Now I'm going to give you some bonus tips if you want to make it even better. And the first bonus tip, I highly recommend you do it. The reason I didn't put it in the main protocol is I know not everyone's willing to do this, but it's colon cleansing. The number one reason people have an infectious issue they can't get rid of is because of a clogged, dirty colon. And if you have a breeding ground for illness, I always give the example of a fish tank. If you have a dirty fish tank, it starts to grow mold and bacteria. You don't figure out what's wrong with the fish, you just change the water. So we need to clean out our tanks. And the best way to do that is through colonics and colon cleansing. So I highly recommend the colon cleanses during this cleanse. If you do choose to do it, this is what I recommend you do. At the very start of your program, you want to do a series of 6 colonics. You want to do 1 every other day for 2 weeks. So 1 colonic, start the first day, every other day for 2 weeks, do 6 of them total. I recommend doing water for the first 2, doing lemon for the second 2, and doing coffee for the third 2. Again, like here at Natural High Wellness Center, they'll take care of the lemon and the coffee and all that for you. It's called an implant, and those are amazing things to do. The other thing that'd be really good to do would be wheatgrass too. Excellent for beneficial bacteria, for helping good bacteria to grow inside the system. So I would do that towards the end of the program. The second thing you can do that's highly beneficial is enzymes. I have a specific product I like from Arthur Andrew Medical called Synthol. It's a blend of enzymes that destroy yeast organisms in the body. This product works on its own. The reason I didn't include it in the main protocol is it's an expensive product. So if you can afford it and you want to have even a better and quicker results, this stuff's amazing. I know a lot of practitioners around the country that this is all they use for Candida. They give people these enzymes and Candida disappears. It's an amazing product. It eats up the cell wall of the fungus and yeast organism so that the immune system can destroy it. But it also has probiotics and prebiotics in the formula. It's called Synthol by Arthur Andrew Medical. You can also do other systemic enzymes as well. They will benefit you as well. The third tip, bonus, would be extra digestive assistance. So apple cider vinegar before meals, aloe vera juice before meals, a tablespoon before each meal really helps with digestion. Those are great things to do too. The final thing I want to leave you with is tips and tricks. Breakfast, you're very acidic when you wake up in the morning. You're usually not hungry, you're actually thirsty. So drink 2 big glasses of water, drink a glass of water with your greens powder in it, and you might not even need breakfast. And if you don't, that's great. If you do want to eat breakfast and you're sticking to this program and you're like, I don't know what the heck to eat, you can eat millet, you can eat amaranth. What you can do is you can stir that up, you can add a couple drops of stevia and some cinnamon, and it kind of makes like a porridge, and it's super good. Another tip is an omelet. Follow the 80-20 rule. Make it mostly vegetables and do an egg and make an omelet. That is perfect for this program, along with your good fats. The second tip is less is more. Follow the 80-20 rules. The key is to never, never, never overeat, because that leaves residue in the body. That feeds infectious organisms. Quality oil, always better than quantity. Prepare meals in advance. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. A program like this, you really got to plan ahead of time, especially if you have a family, especially if you're feeding children and you need to meal plan for the whole family. Juicing is a bonus. I'm a big fan of juicing. I love juicing celery, cucumbers, and other green foods. I would not juice carrots or any fruit on this program because it is a Candida program. And so those are my bonus recommendations for the program. The final thing I'm going to leave you with, I think I said that already. This is truly the final thing I'm going to leave you with. Long-term healing from Candida. And what I mentioned in the very beginning is there's a reason most people have Candida. They're not victims of Candida. There's something else going on in the body. So here's the 6 things you want to look for to make sure you heal your body for the long term. Again, I did not get better from my Candida issue until I stopped thinking about killing Candida and I started thinking about what in my body needs to be fixed or cleansed. So step 1, ensure that you have strong digestion and a clean colon. This means you have daily, regular bowel movements. They're fully formed. There's no odor. Odor means putrefaction, that things are rotting in your intestinal tract. Okay? You should have no gas, bloating, acid reflux, heartburn, none of those common things. You should have a strong digestion, no food sensitivities, no food allergies. That's very important for having a healthy environment so that you don't have Candida. Step 2, cleansing the lymphatic system. Again, this was my issue. My lymph was backed up and it created a breeding ground for illness because toxins couldn't get out of my body. A biomeridian testing, which I do, is excellent for finding out if you have lymph blockages. Your lymph is your waste removal system, so it's important to move that. The infrared saunas will help with that. Exercise will help with that. A mini rebounder, the cellar sizer, is the only one I recommend. That is highly, highly recommended to move and cleanse your lymph up. The third thing, cleanse heavy metals out of your body and environmental poisons. So this means cleansing, detoxing. This means getting mercury and all the metal out of your mouth. Mercury can cause Candida to be in your body long term, and you'll cycle through this yo-yo effect of having Candida come and go if you don't get rid of these metals in your body. Fourth, build your hormones. This was the other key for me, my weak adrenal glands. People don't realize how important their hormonal system is for their health and for their immune system and for their energy levels and everything else. People with weak adrenal glands can have reoccurring Candida infections because their body's too weak to fight it. So you really want to focus on your adrenal glands. What wipes out the adrenal glands is sugar, coffee, stress, and anxiety. Kind of the typical American lifestyle. So I really highly recommend building your hormones back up. Looking at the adrenals more than anything, your thyroid gland as well. Sugar cravings, big deal. A lot of people, it's weak adrenal glands. People assume it's Candida. It might be, but don't assume it. It could be your adrenal glands. That could be your main issue and not so much Candida. The other thing I like to tell people about adrenal glands is if you look at some of the main symptoms of adrenal weakness, it's going to sound pretty familiar to you. Think about symptoms of Candida if you're dealing with Candida and how you feel. Let me tell you about some symptoms of adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion. You're tired all the time. Especially in the late afternoon, early evening, you start to crash. You start to crave sugar or sweets or breads because you want immediate fuel for the body because you're not producing hormones properly. You're lethargic. You have joint pain in your fingers or in your toes or throughout your whole body. You have allergies. You have food sensitivities. You have overall body weakness. These are signs of adrenal exhaustion. A lot of people think they have a Candida problem. They have adrenal exhaustion. So look into that. The fifth thing is get checked for something serious. If you have a major infectious issue, maybe even a type of cancer or a tumor or something like that, go through the modern medical system and get tested to check to see if you got something like this. Because Candida, again, there's a reason it's there. Sometimes it's a cleanup crew, a cleanup mechanism trying to clean up something in your body that shouldn't be there, and a lot of times those are tumors and things like that. So get checked out. Make sure you don't have something serious that you need to address. And the final thing is make it a lifetime goal to make sugar, wheat, and dairy products the exception, not the rule. They're dangerous foods. They clog the colon. They cause food allergies and food sensitivities. They feed infectious organisms. They riddle our body with viruses and things like that, especially dairy products, and they're just unnecessary. They weaken the immune system, and we don't really need them in our daily diet. So try to make those the exception, not the rule, so that you don't have a reoccurring issue. And that's it. I appreciate you guys listening to this. I hope this protocol helps you. I'm happy to email this to you. Again, it's going to be on my website as well for you to just print out like an Adobe Acrobat format. I did do a kind of a summary guide for those who need it, what the supplements are. I think you can go back and listen to what foods are recommended and how to do the infrared saunas. But here's a quick summary of the supplements and what you're going to need. Pau d'Arco bark, you're going to need about 1 pound of that. Black walnut hulls powder, you're going to need about 6 ounces of that. Yellow dock powder, you're going to need about 6 ounces of that. The Zodine, the iodine, 1 bottle. I recommend doing coconut oil, so get like 1 quart of coconut oil. A good greens powder, a greens blend powder. Grape bitters, digestive grape bitters, about a 4 ounce bottle. The concentrate mineral drops, you'll need a bottle of that. The electrolyte stamina packets, you'll need 2 boxes of the electrolyte stamina packets. Again, this is from Trace Minerals Research, is the company. You'll need probiotics, again, for after the first month. For Renew Life, you'll need the 200 billion supercritical extract, and you'll need the 50 billion critical from Renew Life as well. And then for maintenance, you can either do the 50 billion or the Udo's Super 8. You'll need shaga and or reishi mushrooms. You can take capsules of those. I prefer the tea. I say to do a teaspoon of mushrooms in a cup of hot water and drink 1 or 2 cups of that per day. That's a great maintenance, and there's 1,000 other benefits to that as well. Medicinal mushrooms are amazing. And then the optional, remember, was the enzymes. That would be a great optional thing to do if you can afford it. Again, they're kind of expensive. So again, thanks. I really hope this helps you guys. I just hope you understand that, again, there's a reason you have Candida. This will help wipe it out of your system very quickly, but if it reoccurs, there's a reason it's there. So dig deeper, find out why it's there. Come see me or some other type of practitioner in your area where you're at that understands this, because so many people are out there saying, Candida, Candida, you have Candida, and they're not focusing on why it's there or why it's present. So I just encourage you to do that, and I wish you all the best. I wish you all the blessings in the world, and